And welcome to Discourse on Global Television. I am your host, Priscilla Obasi, and we're talking today about the tensions in the Middle East. As we all know, there have been tensions in the Middle East, and it has escalated dramatically following coordinated military strikes by the United States and Israel on targets inside Iran, marking one of the most serious geopolitical confrontations in recent years. Now, the operation targeted strategic sites linked to Iran's military and nuclear infrastructure, with Washington and Tel Aviv saying the move was aimed at preventing Iran from advancing its nuclear capabilities and regional influence. Now, Iran has also responded with missile and drone attacks against Israel, U.S. military installations and allied locations across the region, raising fears that the conflict could expand into broader Middle East war. Reports also indicate that major cities in Iran have experienced sustained bombardment, while retaliatory strikes from Tehran have targeted adversaries and strategic assets across the Gulf. Humanitarian concerns are also growing, with rights groups reporting significant civilian casualties and widespread destruction, as international leaders call for restraint and diplomacy to prevent further escalation. The situation has actually triggered emergency diplomatic engagements globally, with concerns that continued escalation could affect global oil markets, security alliances, and international stability. We will be joined by one of our international correspondents to help us unpack this unfolding crisis. And we are also going to analyze the global implications of everything we see happening. Global Television's Edika Michael will be with us virtually in the studio. He has been closely following developments in the region, and he is in the best position to bring us all the updates. Please, we join Global TV foreign correspondent Edika Michael just after this break. Don't go anywhere, stay with us. Interestingly, one of the things that we see unfolding in the midst of this crisis is the impact in the oil market. Now, we know that Iran is known for, its oil producing, it's one of the oil producing states. And because of this, we have even seen that the price of oil in Nigeria has been affected. So How long are we going to wait for all of these tensions to calm down? The humanitarian concerns are growing. Rights groups, people are protesting. Casualties and widespread destructions are also recorded. And international leaders are calling for restraint and diplomacy to prevent further escalation. Now, there is also the thought that, people saying and talking about how President of the United States, Donald Trump, is overstepping his boundaries. How that he, at this point, needs to be called to order. But the question is, who calls him to order? Who brings both parties to the negotiation table? On what conditions, on what terms are we going to have a conversation? Because the leader, the supreme leader, has been, taken in all of this crisis. And who pays for the damages? Damages are both sides. We're not, pushing it to one side, but it's both sides. We have also seen reactions, even in Nigeria, people protesting, coming out to say they are not happy with the situation. Of course, war is not what we pray for as a nation, or even as the world, looking at it from the global perspective. But all of this needs to come to an end. And who makes the move to bring it to an end? Like we said before we went on that break, we are going to be joined by Global TV's international correspondent Edika Michael. He helps us bring perspective. He helps us unpack the unfolding crisis and, bring the global implication to this situation. How has it affected neighboring countries? How has it affected even, their country? There is also the concern that Nigeria has its own troubles to deal with. So trying to engage with this situation is not doing us any good, as some citizens have said. So lives matter, every life matter, and war, like I say, is not what we want at this point. But I don't know if we have Edika Michael there. Are you there, Edika Michael? Thank you very much for joining us, Edikan. Good to have you.
Good afternoon, dear.
Okay, let's start with, unpacking the situation. For viewers who may just be catching up with the story, what exactly triggered the latest round of attack between the United States, Israel, and Iran? Or let's even start with the basics, like the foundation of it all. What do you think, initiated, caused the strikes flying left, right, center between, the United States and Iran, or United States collaboration of United States, Israel, and Iran?
I mean, it's a lot happening over there in Iran as we speak right now. We've seen United States giving strong powers and support to Israel in a bid to tame down the tendencies of Iran building some nuclear weapons that was a threat to the rest of the world, because Donald Trump, president of the US, has said that allowing Iran to possess the nuclear weapon will be a threat to the rest of the world, probably due to their ideology they do have behind what they believe in. And it shows clearly that it becoming more of a threat, not just from the United States this time, but from Israel, in a bit of trying to see how they can not allow other states to also possess nuclear weapons. So it's just about share of national muscles in the international system, because for US, they feel that they are the world power, and because they are simply the world power, they would not allow any other countries to possess nuclear weapons. So it's clearly what is actually happening. And a lot of persons have criticized the United States for embarking on this war, because for some persons in the United States that they ought not to involve themselves, that this belongs to Israel. So why are you joining forces with Israel to engage on the war? But we've seen how decisive President Trump has been for this second term in office. For him, he feels that he doesn't want to play around, and he, of course, doesn't want to take for granted any threat, and also, for example, of positions of nuclear weapons. So, and they have been a very strong ally to Israel recently, as we've seen, and Netanyahu being a very close ally to President Trump. So it's clear that President Trump and Israel have seen that possession of nuclear weapons, building of weapons by Iran will put the world at risk. And so that's why they quickly had to intervene, killing the supreme leader and others, other leadership members of the cabinet as they were gathering in a meeting on Saturday. They've gotten the intelligence report from United States intelligence. They have also been able to track the supreme leader for so many, for as long as we may think. Recall what just happened at Venezuela. So you can't play with the intelligence of the United States. What they have also demonstrated is also the fact that they have the high intelligence. But the argument the United States is, did the Congress give a go-ahead for this war? Before a president embarks on a war, he ought to probably have an approval from the Congress. But there's also an establishment within the law of the United States that also give powers to the president, to probably go after anyone or any country who is, who is a threat, who is becoming a threat to the United States, to the security of the United States. So President Trump is quickly standing on that order that for Iran, position and continuous building, even after a lot of negotiations attempts, which has not yielded result. They have not listened to what Trump said. For Trump, he's not someone who just speaks. He speaks and backs it with action. So that is where we are today. But it has de-escalated, not just from war right now in Iran. The whole of Middle East right now is actually, there's a lot of tensions in the Middle East. We've seen Qatar was affected by some missiles shot by Iran, and the US is also begging the United Kingdom for bases to stand to also attack some of these, to conquer some of these missiles. So all of that is becoming a tensions already in the international system. A lot of persons are afraid that if this is not well managed, it might be a threat to taking the world into another war that many countries are not prepared for. So it's becoming a lot of issues, and it's already almost day 5 for this war. And the United States said they have taken hold of Iran. Their airspace is in control. They are in control of their airspace. They are in control of their networks and everything. So it shows that United States are not ready to leave until they completely, get to, destroy all the missiles, all the positions, and all of that Iran has built over the years. It's not just something that is just a 5 years or a decade stuff. Iran has built this thing over decades. So it shows that Iran had possesses power. That even now, right now, some of them are even threatening. Some of the Iran leaders are still threatening that they're not gonna give up. That of course, it's not possible that the United States will win this war. So it shows that even at the fact that they have killed the supreme leader, it doesn't stop the ideology. So many of them stands for. So it's becoming a lot of a concern. How many lives will be lost? How many civilian lives will be lost in the course of this? United States have already lost 5 servicemen at the course of this war. And the United States have also said that we know that some of our servicemen will die. So we're also ready for some persons to make some sacrifices. So it's becoming a lot of concerns right now in the international system.
Dekan, thank you. So we see that there is, a latest round of attack between the United States, Israel, and Iran. Is this a continuation or basically a retaliation coming from Iran? What do you say about, the reoccurring, incidences?
Yeah, Iran are just trying to see how they could probably still stand firm to what they believe in. For them, they have lost their leader. They have lost other personnel in the international system. What more is left? So why can't we just continue to fight the war that we believe in? So their retaliations is not really holding, strong weight in the international system, because we have not seen, where their strikes obviously have been intercepted. None of these missiles have gone to the United States. None of these missiles has either gotten to Israel, even when, yes, even in the capital of Israel, there was some sentiment, of course, of attacks there and there, but no life have been lost, within these two countries. So it shows that if Iran continue to say we are fighting back, the people's life that probably will be a danger will be that of Middle East, and some of the United States citizens that are in Middle East. And United States are already making moves to see how they can, move their citizens out of the Middle East back to the United States. So it's more or less a point where some persons have said, can they begin to surrender to the United States? is it possible to see Iran surrender completely to United States? Because from what they are fighting now, and from what the United States have said and Israel, that joining forces with Israel has already conquered. They have already conquered the war. Holding assets of a country or a territory into ransom is already a big security win for the United States. So, but Iran are not giving up from what we've seen. Some of their military are still holding so strong, even when they do not have a leadership as we speak. There is no pronounced leadership as we speak. I feel that if there is any pronounced leadership as we speak, United States will still go after anyone who will be announced as a leader. So what we are clearly seeing is Iran just using rhetorics and still using some of the missiles that they still have in position and what they have built over the past year to still fight back fight back. But it's the life of civilians that is a danger, the life of the people of Iran, the life of people in the Middle East, are not really targeted at the United States. And that's why a lot of persons are really concerned. But most importantly to all of this is the fact that the silence of the United Nations has also been a major concern, because we feel the United Nations ought to have been consulted before embarking on this war, but the US did not obtain a go-ahead, did not have a proper authorization from the United Nations to embark on this war. So it shows that the United States are really standing their foot with Israel this time to end this completely. But for how long this will end, or for what ends means to United States, because if the end for United States was the killing of the supreme leader of Iran, it would have been understood. But to end for United States means complete destruction of whatever Iran has built over the years. And for some of the Iranian soldiers and some of the military men right there, they are not giving up anytime soon. And it's, of course, a major concern.
So much. One would want to ask, the fear from onset was the fact that Iran possessed nuclear weapons. But we see that in the midst of this chaos and the war, we have seen the US winning at all fronts, right? So can we really see, or is there any indications that indeed they possessed nuclear weapons enough to send, make the world scared or tremble, or neighboring countries tremble? Because, looking at whatever battle has been going on between them, it doesn't look as if, they are winning. I'll say that. So what do you think? Was that allegation coming from a place of truth or some other, thing?
Yeah, I mean, United States have also backed up their claims with the fact that Iran are not just building nuclear weapons, but they are also sponsors of terrorism that we have in the rest of the world. So if we say, for those who believe strongly with some of the ideologies of the Islamic movement that they do have, that is all about destruction for United States, they feel that Iran has sponsored terrorism within the Middle East and the rest of the world. That is very concerning. There is no empirical fact to back up this, other than the fact that they are trusting the fact that some of the ideology that they stand for has been of destructions. I mean, Rubio, the Secretary of the United States, even described them to be lunatic. He has described Iran to be a very lunatic, and of course, they are based on the fact that they feel the world will not be safe if we have people who have this kind of ideology, have positions of arms, have positions of nuclear, whatever that they are building on. So it shows about, it's simply a case of what they stand for and what they believe in. So United States feels that what they believe in does not align to the fact that there will be peace in the international system, and they are using all of that to back up their claim. They might have some facts and some information based on the intelligence to how far these destructions can go, of how far positions of arms by Iran can be a threat to the rest of the world. But from what we've seen is the rhetoric, is the fact that Iran says that even their weapons is not a threat to the world, but indications has also shown the fact that they have somehow been threatening, United States over the past. They have also threatened Israel over the past, and so all of that has become a major factor for what U.S. has justified their actions against Iran recently.
Donald Trump is overstepping his boundaries, being that the international laws do not permit whatever it is he is doing. He might have his claims, but as you said, there are no empirical facts to his claim. So it's more of, a power tussle of some sort. And is this any ground, to, go to the extent that he has gone? in this whole situation?
I mean, it's simply a show of a war power. United States, Donald Trump have said, we want to prove a point to the rest of the world that we still remain number one. So it's sure of powers in the international system. And when you understand how the global politics works, it's about who has the might and who has all of that. But for the fact that, as I said earlier, if United Nations are probably had been there up and doing in their duties, based from the Security Council, seeing how they could continue to put the world powers at check, either by quickly interventions and all of that, it probably would have made sense. But a situation where all of this threat has been over decades and United Nations never took an action. The rest of the world were looking, we're watching and seeing the threats and probably the terrorism that have been sponsored by Iran based on what the United States have said. So for them, they feel that they have been, a complete watching over the affairs of Iran by the rest of the world, or those who are probably meant to intervene. But from what we've seen is that the United States are saying enough is enough. Israel are joining forces. US are joining forces with Israel to say enough is enough. It's time to take action. If we don't take action now, we might not take the actions again, or no other president, according to Trump, can ever take an action. So it shows that President Trump is really an extremist for him. He's a radical person, so he cannot really differentiate that. So backing with the international system, the international law, provide a places of sovereignty protection. Where territorial threats are something that every nation can always retaliate or can always respond. But crossing boundaries and killing, destructions, total position of airspace of another territory is what we cannot say that they have all of these powers to. But when you see that probably the UN and other the international law or the International Court of Justice and everybody are just watching and seeing that it's look that they are handicapped, to do anything based on what the sentiments they have shared. And as I said earlier, the US, based on the provisions, have it to the president that the president can always respond to any threat into their country. And of course, he probably using that based on based on their domestic law to fight and to attack Iran as we speak.
Already see that happening. Now, what do you think? Where do you see this going? Do you even see this coming to an end in quicker than we think?
The Secretary of War of the United States, while giving briefing over day 4 of this war, said that it's not something that we can tell when the war, when this current war will end. But for him, United States are not leaving anytime soon until they achieve their objective. And one may ask, what is the objective of the United States? If you've eliminated the supreme leader of Iran, what is left again? What is still the issue? Do you want to install a new leadership? Do you want to completely abolish the structure that they have? If you've not done so, about 7 members of the leadership of Iran have already gone down already. So what is the objective? To what end would this be for United States? So that's not what we have gotten very clearly, but it looks that it's not something that is going to end soon, because for US and Israel, they still have some intelligence based on the fact that, as I said earlier, Iran has built weapons upon weapons already. This is not just one weapons, 2 weapons. For decades, these guys have been doing a lot of work, and probably the United States are discovering all of this and saying that even what we have done is still not enough. So they're still on ground to see how they can completely eliminate all the powers that they do have. But it shows clearly, as again, the fact that this is not just affecting Iran as we speak. It has affected, the whole of Middle East. Many persons are running away from their countries, right? Some Middle East countries are back to the safer places, and not just citizens of United States this time. United Kingdom are also responding. The Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, has also said that we are trying to see how we can also get some British out of the Middle East. So every members of the world are trying to do the same, but it shows clearly that it's probably distorted activities within the Middle East. It will affect, international trade, and this will also have a ripple effect in the economy of many nations who probably have, some backings and some support of some more trading systems within this country. So it shows clearly that United States are not living anytime soon, based on their last statement that they do have, that they are meant and are yet, and they will stay till they completely obtain their objective. So we do not know the complete objective of the United States. If eliminating the supreme leader is not enough, if installing leadership is their next target, that is what we are still watching. But if that is the way to go, I feel some of Iran, you saw that there was celebrations. So some people are happy and celebrating the intervention of the United States. Some Iranians are happy about that. So they're trying to invite, a better leadership structure other than what they do have. I mean, are they completely aligning with that? So that is clearly what we are seeing now, that the United States are still on ground and still enjoying the support and the prayers and the wishes of some persons of Iran. And while others who still believe that it is wrong for the United States to come into a country, all position of their airspace, destroy the lives of their supreme leader and others, and what they've built over the past years is not fair within the international system.
So one of the major concerns, right? One of the major concerns globally is energy supply. Oil. Iran is one of the oil producing regions, and they are one of the best in the world. Now, how can this affect? Well, of course, we already see this affecting oil markets in Nigeria. The price of fuel has been skyrocketing gradually, and the fear is that as this prolongs, it gets worse, right? So how do we even tackle this? Do you see this coming again? I ask, how soon do we see this coming to an end, and how does this affect the global oil market, especially with the tensions around Strait and Hormuz?
I mean, this war came in surprise. Nobody was prepared for the attack of the US. Yes, over the past few weeks, Trump was tweeting. You recall that when he tweets, he responds with action. So persons feel that it was just a mere tweet, but he has backed this with an actions. And it's clearly showing that for President Trump, it's not something that is not something that we should play around. It's not something. I'm not like any other president. He has been saying that I'm not like any other president, but so when countries were not prepared because there was no negotiation, better negotiation. I mean, US is not open negotiation to Europe. It did not open negotiation to many other organizations of affiliations and allies of the United States. They just took the action by cooperation with Israel. So it means that things are going to be affected. Of course, when there are war, there are always economic impacts of every war, even a domestic war you can even name of even within the country Nigeria. So it shows clearly the fact that there was no alternative. Many countries did not make absolute preparation to have an alternative to their trading system with Iran. So they're trying to see how they can probably start getting supply from other countries. So it has affected the international trade, and we can't tell, since we can't also know how long this war will end or will be, to know when would all of these things will be normalized. If we have better leadership today, or if they install new leadership today, if things will begin to take shape. But we feel that should be done. Other than fighting wars and still trying to see how they can completely make a destructions of whatever Iran has built. Living the fact that this is drastic happening. I mean, having economic impacts into the rest of the economy. You've seen that we've been in a very fragile world recently, when we see that the fact that there's a lot of impact of there's a lot of global impacts based on the trade policy of the United States. When you see the fact that he has raised tariff to countries, so people were not even happy about that. So now that you've moved, not just leaving the tariff system that you're running in the United States, to go to Iran, where some persons were having oil, where people were having Middle East relation, because you can't even transact, you can't even make some moves right now. A lot of businesses have been held hostage by by all of these happenings. Aircraft are not flying within the Middle East as we speak. A lot of aircraft, suspended in their operations, for some days now, and still waiting to know when they can begin full operation. So it has affected the movement of all of these things. And we can only say that there should be a proper alternative there, other than trying to put everyone who were probably dependent on the oil coming from Iran to ransom. So it clearly showing that the fact that United States must make an end to it, because there's a lot of pressure right now from the international organizations and even analysts who are saying that United States should quickly make an end to this war. Even some persons and service chiefs of the United States are saying this is not our war. They are now threatening Trump that this is not our war. This war belongs to Israel. Allow Israel to go to the war. UK on the other end are now saying this is not our war. What we can only do is that we'll provide our base for you to use, to intercept missiles. Every other country are distancing themselves, from this happening. So for them, it does not really have international legal grounds for all of these strikes and for this war to be prolonged. Nobody prepared for this war. So because people were not prepared for this war, it's not something that people have bargained to go into it. It's not something that Iran has also had people on the side, or it's just something that Israel or US had, support of many other countries on the side. So you can really say that people are happy about it. So it's also time, if they have eliminated the leader, they should really name out what they probably want for Iran, not just Iran to move forward, for the global market, the economy of the rest of the world, and even the Middle East, most especially, to also be freed and for them to also move ahead.
Yeah, but before we go, what would it take diplomatically or politically to bring both sides to negotiations, in your opinion, just in 1 minute?
The ball still on the courts of the United Nations. The United Nations are always the big players, and they're always the mediators. They're always those who probably call nations to order. We have diplomatic routes to resolving all of this issue. Mind you, before now, Trump had opened, let's give it to Trump as well. He had opened room for negotiations. We recall how he held several meetings to see how he can, for Iran to stop all of that, because a week to all of this, there were killings in Iran, during the protests. There were killing of civilians, arresting and putting a lot of persons in prison. So United States had open room for negotiation. Can you stop this? Can you stop the producing or the building of these missiles? Can you stop the killings of your people? So all of those measures did not happen for United States to take action. So now the United Nations has a role to play, because allowing this to continue, allowing the United States and the Israel to continue to kill or to continue to hold hostage Iran will also be a threat, not just to Iran this time, as we say, but to the Middle East. So I feel it's also time for the United Nations and to continue to have their negotiations, technical teams in place, beginning to call United States, beginning to see how they can call some of the leaders and those who still are standing on the grounds, and some military leaders of Iran to some negotiation table. Can we begin to see how we can end this? What is the issue? Is the issue about the missiles? Iran, can you stop the producing of your nuclear weapons, if that is the issue? If the issue is about terrorism, can we begin to trace how they have been funding this terrorism in the rest of the world? So there must be someone who probably will step into that shoe. And not just any other country can do that right now, because United States still holds, still feels that they are the most powerful, and no other country can call them to order but the United Nations. So we feel that pressure should be mounted on the UN. It's time for the UN not just to make a statement, but to begin to take actions and statements that can probably put calm, to Iran and the Middle East and the tension that we have right now.
Thank you so much for helping us break down this complex development. We would have to, go to the next conversation, but I want to say thank you. The unfolding confrontation, actually, between the United States, Israel, and Iran remains a major geopolitical flashpoint with implications not just for the Middle East, but also for the entire globe. And it's important at this point, right, to bring whatever it is to, make this de-escalate. As events continue to evolve, the world will be watching closely for the signs of escalation or diplomacy in the days ahead. Thank you so much, Edikan, for joining us. I will now flip our conversation towards our national issues. Yes, we're talking about defections, we're talking about our political landscape and 2027 elections in focus. And we'll be joined by the COP Dems chairman of Nasarawa State. He's in the studio and he'll help us unpack issues. Please stay with us. Thank you very much for still being here with us. Now we're turning the conversation towards, our national issues. 2027 in focus, and we're talking about, some of the unfolding situations in our political landscape. Now, Nigeria's political landscape has once again entered a familiar phase. A wave of defections have been hitting across political parties, from federal lawmakers to grassroots politicians. We continue to see a movement from one political platform to another, often justified by what politicians describe as strategic alignment, survival, or ideological repositioning. However, many Nigerians watching from the outside see these defections, and it raises concerns about questions about political ideology, about accountability, and loyalty to the electorate. Are the defections simply a reflection of democratic freedom and political strategy, or do they represent a deeper crisis in Nigeria's party system where political ambition overweighs public mandates? Now, more importantly, what does this trend mean for voters who elected individuals under a specific party platform, only to see those representatives later switch alliances, right? So, with the 2027 election slowly coming in view, conversations around coalition building, around political survival, and party realignment are becoming increasingly prominent. And to help us unpack these issues, we're joined by Paul Aldu. He is the chairman of COPDEM in Nasarawa State, who will share his perspective and the motivations behind political defections, or if he has a concern around it too, of course, he'll also share that with us. Comrade Aldu, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. It's a
good
pleasure being here.
The last time we had you, it was virtual, but it's a good thing to see you in the studio.
It's a pleasure.
I hope you had a safe trip.
Bless God that grant us safety on the road.
Okay, so let's dive straight into the conversation. What would you say about what we are saying? Coalition groups coming together, some of them with the motive to remove the sitting government and all of that. Some of them feel, it's important to do this alliance or re-strategizing, basically because I need to come back in 2027. I need to join the ruling party. And there are concerns that Nigeria is gradually turning into one party state. But then I want you to share your own sentiment with us. What do you think, sir?
I think on my own personal analysis regarding all that has been unfolding in the country, I feel is a distraction.
Okay. Because
of a truth, nobody gets into power without the people. I think before you take decision, you got to get to the grassroots. Consult them, ask them, why do you think where I am is comfortable? And then I am looking at going elsewhere. You should hear their view. These people that brought you into power, I don't think they are your slaves. They trusted you. And the opposite of trust is distrust. The time I see somebody getting overwhelming victory somewhere and is thinking of going somewhere, I see it as a distraction. And he's causing instability in the political landscape of the country. That's a serious problem, which I think most of this defection, I don't think people do it because they want to do it. There is a motive behind something happening. But we pray God expose us to that and we get to know, why am I coming this way? I am in the platform of protecting democracy. You don't protect democracy if there is no political platform that gives people equal view to express themselves. And I feel we receive from people the way they feel when this A left to this to B side, and it's causing a lot of discussion. I can use the case study of my place.
Okay.
What is happening?
Okay. You are from Nasarawa State.
I am from Nasarawa
What's
State.
the situation with Nasarawa State or in Nasarawa State?
I guess if you can recall 2023 thereabout, there was an incident of a political party between the PDP APC election tussle that led up to the Supreme Court. The APC got that judgment in their favor. But there is a gentleman who is called, am I permitted to call names? Who is called Right Honorable David Emmanuel Mbugadu, who parent from the interland, women to a point they even protest because of his mandate. Some even get naked in the state capital because they felt the mandate was stolen from him. And today,
so they protested in his favor.
In his favor.
Okay.
All of a sudden, we got to hear that he has defected.
Wow.
To the ruling All Progressive Party. In our own feelers, we begin to hear people complaining. This feels as if he has betrayed them. That is the content of the word from these people. And I feel people should always remember that you've never become popular because you are popular. People made you popular. So you must always look at what is their view, their emotion, and their temperament when you will take decision. Is key.
So
is key.
So how do you think, or don't you think some of these political stakeholders don't consult or do consult the grassroots? Because most times you see that support actually moves from one party to their supporters move likewise from one party to the current party they choose to go to. So I may think, or some Nigerians may think, okay, these people were consulted and they are fine with my decisions, and hence the defection.
I want to use the case study around my place. We interface the grassroots.
Okay.
Before I will come up to make up a statement, I guess I've gotten feelers from both sides. I don't think there was a wider consultation, and that is causing a lot of setback. It's making people feel: is this politics real? Must I continue following people that at the end they will leave me? Maybe they take me to the sea and leave me between the middle of the sea.
Yeah.
I think, see, we've not grown to a point that when somebody take a decision, you just see it that way. We follow people because of the track record they had yesterday, and then we feel they have the pedigree to take us subsequent to the future. Then they took a decision. And these people now, the decision lies on millions of people. Do you think the people will just feel comfortable that you left them? It's like, let me use this perspective. You have a father today. The next day, he told you are not his child. What happened? You are demoralized. That is why I said defection is creating distrust, is creating distraction cut across.
They say what's good for the goose is good for the gander. When Peter Obi, I believe that majority of Copdems are obedient. We have seen, a majority of them, associate themselves with Peter Obi and his movement. But we have seen Peter Obi move from party to party. He has gone from the PDP, or even from APGA. He started from APGA to the PDP, and from the PDP to Labour Party, and currently in the ADC. So if what is good is for the goose, and we still have obedience, hailing him, supporting him, wanting him to even get the ticket come 2027 from the ADC. So why is defection good for a Peter Obi and not good for another person? Is my question.
I want to let me say it this way. Obi, I will always tell you, I'm not an able person. But every Nigerian that is genuine, that is sincere, need a message. Because our country is in a deep mess. Obi brought in a message. We are not following Peter Obi because he's in the political party. If Nigeria has a clause of an independent candidate, today we will not be talking about party. Obi have a message that connects to the heart of anybody that is a sincere Nigerian. We are not following Peter Obi because Obi had all it takes to give to every Nigerian. We are following him because he is organic in his charisma of leadership. He has a message. His message is, Nigeria is somewhere. You need to go back and take back this country from that place it is to the place that it desire to be.
Okay.
I and you know. Obi, we're not talking about defection. Obi has never defected without people asking him to do that.
Yeah.
Obi's defection from the PDP, from the PDP to the Labour Party, it was a collective agreement from his followers. Not because the party wanted him, but the followers say, we have seen the language from the party that this ticket you are trying to log out with, you can't get it. So we feel if you go towards this side, you stand a chance.
Okay.
Even this coalition, Obi never took decision until December 31st before he became a card-carrying member of the ADC.
Okay.
You see, he's a man that believes in what people tells him, and that thing is positive. I guess Obi's case is a different case.
Oh, interesting.
It's a different
why
case.
is Obi's case a different
His case is that...
Is it because he is a presidential candidate or someone that, people... It doesn't matter. You can still be loyal to a party. And I honestly do not believe that a coalition should mean you coming to join a party. You can have your different parties and have a consensus on a particular candidate. We can have the ADC, the Labour Party, the
NNPP, you have
YPP, all of them coming together in their respective parties and say, we are going for this guy in the PDP. We are going for this guy in this. And that is, for me, that is the ideology of a coalition. It doesn't mean you have to go from one party to, another. You're coming together to present a contest. And even with the coalition we have not even seen a consensus candidate in the ADC up till date. We all know that the APC has their candidate already. So if the motive of coming together was to bring one person, why is that delay? Or why is there that delay, right? So it's not an issue of making Obi a more special person or just trying to shield him and all of that. I'm not saying that he doesn't have the right. Of course, everyone has the right. But my question remains, why are we soft pedaling when it comes to the Obi himself and saying he's allowed, and then other people are moving for their own personal or trying to position themselves to pass their own message? Because everybody does have a message. Obi is not the only person with a message. Yeah. So if I feel like my message will be heard more in a particular party, am I not free to go there? Why are we soft pedaling with Obi and then going hard on others is my question.
Can I say this?
Yes.
Obi has only contested for president once, isn't it? We have trend of leaders that have shipped from party A down the drain. I don't think it has ever raised a concern. This question you're asking me, you are not the first person asking this question.
Okay.
Obi has a special
place in your heart.
No, in the heart of so many Nigerians that want to change.
Nigerians, including you.
Yes, including me.
Okay.
Now, Obi left the Labour Party. You know the tussle between the Labour Party up till date. Up till now, Labour Party have not settled. And no politician that want to remain in a party and is aspiring for leadership to a point that they will continue with a legal process down to the election time. No politician wants that. Obi has made attempt diplomatically to bring peace within the party, Labour Party. Still nothing.
So your case study now,
yes.
Case study, the politician you said defected in Nasarawa State, what party did he defect from?
From the PDP.
Are the PDP not in crisis?
No, the PDP's crisis, of recent, the court just ruled in favor of their convention.
Okay, so if we saw the governor of Osun State defect to Accord Party, and he defected on the same grounds, the PDP is in an unstable state, and that is why I'm defecting. So anyone can choose to leave the PDP at this point because of whatever drama that has lingered, even up till now. They are still, despite the fact that the court has ruled in favor, of those that attended the convention, we still have two factions. And we don't know what will come out of it.
Very true. We know that.
So it's not a good ground to defect. The PDP is not in a good place right now politically. Regardless, they won one of the councils in the just
the one that just returned to the ruling All Progressive.
Yeah. Oh, he returned back.
Yes, a week after his victory.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. So can you see what I'm saying?
Interesting.
A week after his victory,
so
he returned back to the ruling All Progressive. That is a sign of distraction. These people never voted you because you are in the All Progressive APC. They voted you because you are from the PDP. Today, a week after, he defected to the APC. That is our concern. They should allow people people trust them with their mandate.
Okay.
Because leadership, you don't lead when there are no people behind you.
You will always find new people.
Where are they?
When you go to the next party,
Where are they?
you will see new people.
Where are they?
They're there always. They're Nigerians. We know how to cheer for whatever purpose or whatever thing we want to gain from it. Okay, but before let's conclude with this question. I don't feel like we can exhaust all that we have. We will have to really reschedule to hear more from you.
Yes, I know time is fast.
Yeah, our time is fast spent. But before we go, before we go, let me just leave you with these questions. Nigeria approaches another election cycle. What lessons should political parties learn from the recurring patterns of defection?
I think...
and let me add this one to it. What advice would you give to young Nigerians and first-time voters trying to understand the complex nature of Nigerian party politics?
Let me start with the last question. I think young Nigerians that are coming into the process of voting should be focused.
Okay.
They should reflect on their experience from 2023 down to today. What is part of their desires? Has it been met? If not, they should have a reflection. Is this process, if I go with this person, will it take me to that place I desire to get to?
Okay.
One. Then number two, this deflection is very, very, as I've said, is causing us setback. It's not allowing us to operate as a system that wants truly democracy.
Thank you, sir. Like I said, we cannot exhaust this conversation, but we'll definitely have you back. Thank you so much for coming.
It's a pleasure.
For being here with us. And to our viewers, thank you so much. Thank you for staying up till this time. Mr. Comrade Paul Aldu, the chairman of COPDEM National State, has given us insights. And political defections remain a complex but important aspect of Nigeria's evolving democracy. And as voters become more engaged, conversation like this helps us deepen public understanding of how political decisions ultimately affect governance. Thank you so much, viewers, for staying with us. I still remain your host, Priscilla Obasi, and until I come your way again, bye for now.